Flosstube. This is Stephanie, the Ivy House Crafter. This is, I don't know, what number Flosstube is this? 13, I think? It's either 12 or 13. You will know because it will be in the title of this video. So, it is May 10th, Thursday, because I always film on Thursdays, and I just have to say I'm having so much fun with Stitch Mania. I have kept up with it, so that means in the last 9 days I have had 9 starts, and that's just kind of crazy to me because, like, I only started back up stitching again either late December or sometime in January. And now I have like this enormous bag full of project bags, which are full of projects, and yeah, I'm just having a blast getting all these new starts and everything. Let's see. Today's jewelry brought to you by Audrey, my 8-year-old daughter. She had a little activity last night with other girls her age in our church group, and they made Mother's Day jewelry, and she presented me with this. She also made some jewelry for herself, which is a lot more brightly colored, and that suits her, and this suits me. She knew that I liked not a whole lot of color and things that are like more silver and soft, which is, you know, that's pretty cool for an 8-year-old to notice that. But yeah, so she made me this little necklace, and I think it's so fun. It's got leaves, these little beads are leaves, and then just some blue pony beads and this big circle thing. She also picked my earrings for today, because together they added up to 4 beads, and she likes the number 4. And it was kind of fun because when I was putting them on, I remembered where I got these particular earrings. When my oldest daughter, Zaylee, was still attending school, she attended like 1st and 2nd and maybe 3rd grade. Anyway, she was in public school for 2 or 3 years, and they had like the little, they called it the Star Store, and they earned star bucks for good behavior, or, you know, and they could buy things at the Star Store. And at some point she purchased this little pair of handmade earrings for me using her star bucks that she had earned. And so my jewelry today is gifts from both of my daughters, which is just really sweet. It's, you know, coming up on Mother's Day, and okay, so when I was growing up, my mom always just didn't like Mother's Day. She would rather pretend that it was just a regular day. She didn't like it. Don't, you know, yeah. And I always thought that that was just so weird. I'm like, but Mom, it's a special day just for you, and we love you so much. And it wasn't until I became a mom myself that I figured it out. It's because she didn't feel like she was a good mom. And I have the same struggles. I struggle with Mother's Day every year. You know, when we go to church and people speak about the sacred responsibilities of motherhood, and how important and wonderful mothers are, and I never feel like I measure up. And so, just like my mom before me, I sit there and wish that we could just pretend Mother's Day was just another normal day. But my sister, you know, I put that on Facebook. It was like 5 years ago, I think, that I shared on Facebook these same struggles, and my sister commented and you know, said she deals with the same thing, but she looks at it as it's a day for her kids to show how much they appreciate their mom, even when she isn't, you know, the best mom in the world, even when she feels like a failure. And so it's a day for her to appreciate the little things that her sons do for her, you know, and to let them know that, I don't know if I'm saying this correctly or anything, but to accept their little offerings of love and appreciation. So the little hand cutouts, the homemade jewelry, the flowers and kisses and stuff. It's a day that I can appreciate that my kids are okay with me. They, you know, they might not think that I'm the best mom in the world, and I know I'm not, but they can show their love in their own little ways, and I can use Mother's Day as a way to show them that I do love them and I do appreciate them, even when I'm not always a good mom. And wow, that was not in my notes. That was not what I was going to talk about, but that's okay. I was going to share my thrift store story from this week, but let's move on to more positive things for a little while, because that was kind of more serious than I usually do in my Flosstube videos. So I'm just going to move on to Mania. Like I said, I have kept up with Mania, a new start every day, and I have tracked my progress with little videos every evening before going to bed, because I stitch throughout the day and on into the evening. And so I will put those in right here. Hi, it is after midnight again. I need to work on not staying up so late, but I get so into my stitching and knowing that I'm not going to be able to stitch on this again for a while. It makes me want to get as much done as I can before I go to bed. So anyway, day 3, I am doing the birds sampler. This is from the book Traditional Samplers by Brenda Keyes. 20 cross-stitch designs celebrating the art of sampler making. I'm not sure if this one is a reproduction or just based on an old or an antique sampler. It has a name and a date, but the way that she describes it seems like it might be her own design and just based on old patterns. I'm sorry for all the pauses and talking so slow and disjointed. That's just what my brain does when I'm really tired. Anyway, enough talking about the pattern. This is my progress on Birds Sampler by Brenda Keyes. I really, really like this pattern. I started up here because right between these two, I don't know if they're berries or flowers, but right here between these two purple thingies is the center of the fabric. So I started there at the center and then took this green down and this, you know, brought this up here and came around, put in the red birds, and then I started on the green bird here and realized that I had put the red birds and this bit of vine about 4 spaces too low. So I got to frog all of that and then redo it. So if I had learned counting in kindergarten like I was supposed to, I would probably have a whole bunch of leaves on here as well. But anyway, I was able to unpick that and put the birds in and everything, and that's just, you know, some really nice progress on Bird Sampler. My cat approves, don't you? My cat doesn't care. I have this project in my lovely birds project bag. That just seemed appropriate to me. So yeah, day 3 of Stitch Mania. All right, it is day, what day is it? Day 4, May 4th. Today's, doggone it, I stayed up past midnight again because apparently that's just what I do. And I'm the only one in my house that stays up past midnight, and so I never have to talk to anybody at this time of night, and so this is the first time I've had to face the fact that my brain doesn't work properly this late at night. So bear with me. Okay, this is my cat's shadow. Hello, cat shadow. Kitty cat. Messy floor. Baby's apple. I need to put that in the trash. Okay. This is a chart that I charted out to go along with this. If you haven't been watching my videos for a while, I finished this one several weeks ago. It is a freebie from With Thy Needle and Thread. I found it on the blog, and I will link this pattern below. And it only goes up to the letter N. And so I did what I could to mimic the style and chart out my own pattern for the rest of the alphabet. And if you've been watching my videos, you know that my printer does colors really poorly, so this does not represent the colors that I actually chose. So as I was stitching this today, I decided I didn't like how straight some of these lines were. It didn't seem to really match with the styling of the original piece, and so I have stitched it a little bit differently than it's charted. That being said, here is my progress. Ta-da! Cute little scarecrow. So yeah, I made the sleeves a little bit more ragged because it is an old beat up scarecrow, and kind of changed the hat a little bit up here. So this was pretty fun to work on. It was a nice, not quite mindless, but almost mindless stitch because there's large blocks of color. The sweater was pretty easy to work on. It's just back and forth and back and forth. So yeah, I stayed up this late because I wanted to make sure that I got the whole scarecrow done. I was filling in the pumpkin and the hat and stuff, and that's why I stayed up so late. But here are these two together. Isn't that going to be fun? And you know, there's going to be the corn stalks and the letters, and I'm going to put the letters and the border on this one all the same colors as are on this piece. So yeah, I've been sitting on this pattern for quite a while. I think I was about halfway done stitching this, give or take, when I designed this. And so it's been a while, and so I'm glad that I finally got to start on it. I really am liking how this scarecrow looks. He's a very fun mixture of dapper and cute and grungy, so a lot of fun. This is 28 count Monaco from Charles Craft, and the color is tea dyed. Anyway, so yeah, this is my day 4 of Stitch Mania. Okay, it is day 5, Cinco de Mayo. If you've been watching my Flosstube, you know this isn't a new piece. I've been working on this since before I had Flosstube. This is my Dolphin sketch piece. It counts for Mania because I had a new page start. I didn't get a whole lot done today. I was just working on other stuff besides cross-stitching. I did buy a bunch of floss, and we'll talk about that later in my update video. But yeah. And, okay, the cat's rubbing her head against the camera. So yeah, like I said, not a whole lot of progress. This is a smaller page than this one. It's mostly just background, so big blocks of color that will just fill in this area up here, and then a little bit of Dolphin right over here. Mostly background. So yeah, just a little project. Well, I mean big project, but a little progress on the project. And that is it for day 5. Okay, today is May 6th, day 6 of Stitch Mania 2018. Today's piece is my springtime sampler that I designed. I had a lot of fun designing this piece and was looking forward to getting it started. I'm wanting to stitch all of the pieces that I've designed so that I can put a picture of the finished stitched design on each Etsy listing. Let's see, today being Sunday, I knew that I wasn't going to get quite as much done as I might otherwise have, because you have to take off several hours for church, and, well, I'm going to be honest, I take a nap every Sunday because Sundays are hard. Getting all the kids ready for church and then coming home and having to feed everybody, and yeah, so basically Sundays are nap days. So I didn't really get a whole lot of time on this. But, oop, I have it clipped together. Ta-da! So much progress, huh? I actually got a lot farther. I don't know if you can see that faint shadow of what I had done. I had actually finished all of the green for the entire top border of this, but realized when I was putting in the flowers that right here I put in 3 stitches instead of 4, and so this whole thing was off, and the nature of this border, I couldn't just like fudge it. I had to unstitch all of that. So I would have been further along. I would have got more done. But I had to do it right. It is really pretty. You know, the colors are very sweet. Just a fun, pretty little border. Again, there's the pattern. I like that the pattern is, it turned out actually pretty true to color, so that's good. But yeah, this will just be a little piece. I'm stitching it on 18 count Aida, just plain white. And I hope that the next time I work on it, I will be better at counting than I was today. And I hope that as I continue throughout Stitch Mania, I do a better job of counting and paying attention to gridding, because I've already had to do way more frogging than I want to. Well, technically I don't want to do any frogging at all, so any frogging is more than I want. But yeah. Anyway, day 6, Springtime Sampler by Ivy House Crafter. And I will see you for tomorrow's new start. Hi everyone! It is now May 7th, day 7 of Stitch Mania. Yesterday I started my springtime sampler, and today I started my summertime sampler. And my cat wants to see what I'm doing. Hey there. You lay out a blanket on the floor, and the cat believes that it is solely for her benefit. So I got further on this one than on my springtime sampler because I had less frogging. I still did have to do some frogging, but just like on the springtime sampler, I started with the border, and I got like all the way across here, and then I put it away for a few hours because I had, you know, life to do. And then when I came back to it and started getting the floss out to continue with the border, I realized that I had read the symbols wrong for these flowers and had stitched them all in the wrong shade of pink. And so I had to frog them and restitch them. Normally I wouldn't have bothered. I would have just said, you know what, it's still pretty, I'll just, you know, I'll just keep it this other shade of pink and not worry about it. But because I am stitching these so that I can have a picture of the stitched piece to put up in my Etsy shop, I wanted it to be an accurate representation of the colors called for in the pattern itself. So I ripped it all out and put them back in. Thankfully, the greens I did correctly, so I didn't have to rip that out anyway. I really like this border. I think it's very pretty. And, you know, besides the fact that I had to do some frogging, I have enjoyed working on this border. I'm excited for when I get to start stitching this hummingbird because I like hummingbirds, they're very pretty, and so I think that that one will be a lot of fun. And of course the birdhouse. Birdhouses are stinking cute, and yeah. So this is Summertime Sampler. And I think that's all that I've got to say about it. Pretty border. I'm just going to accept the fact that frogging is part of my process. It's just gonna happen whether I like it or not, so I'm just going to accept it. And okay, I will be back with tomorrow's piece. Bye. Okay, day 8, May 8th of Stitch Mania 2018. And as you can see, once again I have decided to let my geek flag fly. This is the Pokemon ABCs from Happy Cupcake Creations. It's a free download. And I will link that pattern below. For this one, I started right here. This corner of the letter M is the very center of the pattern, and so I started with Magikarp. So here is my progress. Here's how big the whole piece is. It's going to be larger than the Minecraft ABCs. But yeah, Magikarp is a favorite in our family. The kids were really excited that I was able to cross-stitch Magikarp, and they just thought that was the neatest thing. And then I moved on to Ninetales. This fabric is just a plain white even weave. It's 28 count, and I'm doing 2/2. The fabric is really stiff, like almost crunchy stiff. It's those who have been watching my channel, this is the same fabric that I did the Festive Stars on, and I did not like Festive Stars. I didn't like working on it. And part of that was this really stiff fabric, but I'm not disliking it so much with this piece. I think because it is just a fun, silly little Pokemon cross-stitch. It doesn't take itself too seriously, so I don't have to take it too seriously. And I cut the fabric down to a more manageable size. And I was trying to stitch on a very large piece of this fabric for Festive Stars, and I was stitching it in hand. So that combined with the color and the beading, that's, you know, why I didn't care for stitching on that and decided to stop stitching it. With this one, I'm changing colors quite a bit, and there's no beading involved, and it's a smaller piece of fabric. So I don't hate it. And I am enjoying, making these cute little Pokemons. I do find that part of the reason it's so stiff is like the fabric threads are very thick, which makes for very small holes. And so stiff fabric, thick threads, small holes, it's really hard on the floss. The DMC is shredding more easily than it would in other softer, more forgiving fabrics. So I'm having to adjust for that and cut smaller lengths or shorter lengths than I normally would. But yeah, it's just a fun little stitch, a fun little piece, and the kids are enjoying that that I was able to put some stitches into this and make that silly magic harp. And Audrey, 8-year-old daughter especially, I think will really like Ninetales. That's one of her favorite Pokemons. Not her very favorite. I think she likes Eevee and Vulpix better, but Ninetales is pretty good too. So that is day 8. And I will see you with tomorrow's stitch for you in a few minutes, for me in about 24 hours. No, for you... Blah, blah, blah. For you in a few seconds, for me in about 24 hours. Okay, it's late. I'm going to bed. Hey, it is day 9 of Stitch Mania 2018, May 9th, and my new start for today is Summer House by Brooks Books Publishing, part of the House for All Seasons collection. And I have already been working on Spring House and have showed that in several previous videos. So today I got started on Summer House, and with Spring House I started in the center, and that's like right here at the line between the main part of the house and the roof. And I started it in the center of my fabric, and as I got working on it, I realized that I would have very generous borders, like more generous than I need. And I prefer to use fabric as sparingly as I can, because then I have leftover fabric to use for little bitty things that are lots of fun. So with this one, having a better feel for the size of the finished project after working on Spring House, I went ahead and started it down in this corner, so the lower left hand corner, and I gave myself a couple inches, and then the size of the fabric that I'm using, that will give me plenty to cut off to have available for smalls. So here is my progress for day 9. I'm stitching this 2/2 on 28 count Jobelin. The color is Star Sapphire. Let me zoom in on these well, not zoom in, move the camera in and try to get it so that it's not a huge shadow. I really like these flowers, they're very pretty. So I have this little bit of the corner completely done, except for there's like 3 stitches in here that are going to be in Krynic, because throughout the whole pattern there's these little floaties, and I think that is so there's those 3. I think that is supposed to be like pollen or something. I'm not 100% certain on that, but they're just sparkly little things floating around. So I don't have those. I'm saving that stuff for later, but other than that I have this whole corner completed, and then I brought the white out here and put in the hinges on the gate and started up this tree. I like how this is coming along. I like the fabric. It's an interesting texture. It's very, I don't even know how to describe it, but it's like really thin. It's see-through-ish, but it's smooth, but a little stiff. It's, I don't know if you can hear it. That's the sound it makes when you rub it together. I hope that didn't bother anyone, the pattern or the picture moving back and forth like that, but yeah, this one is coming along really pretty, and I'm excited because these flowers are kind of like, you know, there's flowers here, and then there's more over here, and then there's a whole bunch of flowers in front of the house, and yeah, just lots of flowers in this piece, and that'll be really nice. So that is my May 9th, and here is my cat. Hello. Hi. Are you a pretty kitty? She likes to come join me every time I do one of these videos because I lay a blanket out on the floor, and she thinks that that means it's time for her to come and sit on the blanket. Huh. Yes, yes you do, because you like sitting on a blanket on the floor. Yeah, does my girl. Yeah, just enjoy this video of me petting the cat. Huh. Okay, that's probably enough. So, May 9th, Summer House, Brooks Books. And I will see you, let's see, this will be the last little nightly progress report on this particular update video, because I'm going to film my update tomorrow, Thursday, and put all of the last 7 videos in there. So, okay, I'm going to call that a night. Bye. Okay, so that is my Mania progress for this week. 7 super awesome projects that I have really enjoyed starting, and I look forward to being able to work on some more after Mania has run its course, and after I'm not doing a new start every day, then I can go back and kind of take stock of the damage that I've done and start working on all those wonderful projects again. Because every single day, you know, I work on this project, and it's like my entire focus for the entire day, almost, and I'll talk about that in a little bit. But and I really love all of the projects that I have started. Some of them I didn't expect to love as much as I do, and that's really awesome. So yeah, I'm loving Mania, and I'm also looking forward to Mania being over so that I can work on all these new whips. So what wasn't shown in the videos was that I have been working almost every day on the Biscornu that I'm doing for the Great Biscornu Swap. And that's my little piece that I've got in here, my miniature project bag that I made. I did In my first video that I put up, my first Flosstube ever, I showed my thread book that I keep all my cool stuff in. I didn't bring that in here with me, so I can't show it again, but I realized that for my smaller project bag, since this is the one that I want to have that I can just like throw in my purse or whatever and do my stitching wherever I go, I needed a little place to keep orts and my needle threader and my little let's see, when I bobbinate my thread, my floss, I always tuck the end under and I use a little crochet hook for that. And I have a crochet hook that fits perfectly in my regular thread book, but I wanted basically just another little thread book that I could keep specifically in here. And so I have this. And this is my little thread book. The top folds out and is where I keep my orts. And that just twists back down. And then this part opens up into a little box, and I have my little needle threader. And when I started doing knitting and I ordered a set of circular knitting needles, it came with a crochet type hook, but the hook part was not firmly attached into the handle and it just like fell off. And I was like, well, okay. I mean, I have like a huge set of crochet hooks, so it no skin off my back. But then I realized that that little hook bit was the perfect size for my travel project, and so here is my little hook for tucking in the ends of my floss. So just a little crochet hook, and it works great and stores in here. This folds up flat. I also got you know, I have this little bird. It's a, how does this fold up? It's a needle threader, and there's like a little blade right here for trimming, you know, cutting threads and stuff, and it works. The cutting part does anyway, but the needle threader, this tiny little, I don't know if you can see it, but it's basically, it's too small. This little hook is too small for embroidery floss, and it just didn't work. And the blade works, but I would rather have something that I can snip the floss with. And so, you know, I keep that in there, but I don't really use it. And I went ahead and got a new pair of embroidery scissors. Just a cute little pair. And they were just at Joann's, and I got them with a coupon. So that is my travel project bag and kit and everything. And I'm gonna just a little flash of the back of what I'm working on, the Biscornu. But I won't really show that in a way that is at all helpful at all until it has been sent and received by my swap partner. Sent by me, received by my swap partner. Okay. Let's see. I made this week a new project bag because apparently when you're starting a whole bunch of starts, you need a whole bunch of project bags. And I've been doubling up on project bags, you know, putting a couple different projects in each bag because I didn't have enough. And so I'm going to be making more. And this time I did the Vana style project envelope. And I put in a snap instead of Velcro because I have a snap set and thought that I would use it. I like it. It makes less noise than the Velcro. This is the inside. Let's see, what do I have in here? Oh, I have my springtime sampler and summertime sampler in here, and you will have seen those in the progress videos that I did. So I really liked making this bag. It uses fewer pieces of fabric, but they're much larger than with the bags that I'm used to. But it sews up a lot quicker when I'm trying to focus more of my energies on cross-stitching and, you know, just getting pieces started and getting a lot of work put into them, than having a really, you know, relatively quick project bag to sew up is actually really nice. Plus I got a whole bunch of fabric. I'm the kind of person that people like to give fabric to. They, ladies in my church, you know, if they are clearing out their stash and just getting rid of things that they aren't going to sew on, they'll bring a big bag and say, do you want this? Because I think that you would want this and I don't want it. So last Thursday some ladies brought, they were destashing some of their sewing fabric, and I gave it a good home. I took it home. And so this project bag was made using some of those fabrics, and here's a few more. These are, they're kind of like, is it 90s-ish? You know, the soft colors and just this type of patterns makes me think of the 90s for some reason. But I really like them. This one would make a good sort of accent fabric for a Valentine's project bag, I think. Look at those little tiny hearts. And there's a whole lot more of this fabric, but I didn't feel like bringing it all in. And I just think that these will make really pretty project bags. So yeah, I will have more project bags soon. Soon is a relative term. It could be, I don't know, it could be anytime. Let's see, knitting update. The last time I showed my knitting, I was working on a Trinity Stitch beanie, and it was like kind of a slouchy hat thing, and I was bemoaning the fact that the Trinity Stitch is hard to do. Part of it is like purl 3 together, and then you have to like knit and purl and knit all into the same stitch and do this over and over again, and it was really slow going and it was really hard. And I finally decided I don't want to finish that hat, so I undid the whole thing, and now it is just a ball of yarn again. And I'm going to use this for something else, like a different hat, an easier hat, because I'm still rather a beginner at knitting, and I want to enjoy my knitting. If I'm going to be doing knitting, I want to enjoy it, and I wasn't enjoying that pattern, so I undid it, and I'm going to use this yarn for something else, because I like the yarn, I just didn't like that particular stitch. So there's that. Let's see, I forgot to do shoutouts last week. Sometimes I forget. So I will do a couple shoutouts today. These two shoutouts, these are both people who are doing daily vlogs, daily updates during Stitch Mania, and it's been a lot of fun as I'm going through my Flosstube queue to see what they've been working on every day. So Stitching Quilter, she's Australian, and I love the Australian accent. She reminds me of my mother-in-law, not a bad thing. Sometimes that can be a bad thing, but no, my mother-in-law is Australian, and like Stitching Quilter, she has dark hair and she wears glasses, and just a lovely lady. And I was watching Stitching Quilter, and my husband came in and was like, huh, she reminds me of my mom. That's cool. So, yeah. And she is doing daily updates on her channel of her Stitch Mania. And a few days ago, one of her updates was her husband was panning for gold. They went out into the bush, the Australian bush, and he was panning for gold, and she was stitching. And I don't know if you can hear, my daughter's trying to talk to me through the door. But so she gets out and kind of films some of the area that they're in, and it's just really pretty, and you know, I find it fun to see other places that I've never been, even if it is just a little glimpse of, you know, some trees and paths and stuff. It's still just really cool. So go check her out, Stitching Quilter. And the other shout out I have is Jan Hicks, and I've heard about her in lots of Flosstube videos. Lots of people talk about her and watch her, and I only recently started watching her videos. And she is also doing daily videos. Hers are Stitch With Me videos, where she you know, she's actively stitching on her Mania start for that day, and she, you know, films that, and she goes through and does some tag questions, you know, a couple questions for each video. So she's, you know, slowly working her way through various tags, and so it's really been fun to get to know her through her stitching and her answers to the tags, and she just, you know, really goes into more detail. So, like, do you have kids? And yes, but she doesn't just move on from there. She talks in depth about each of her kids, and so that's really cool. So yeah, Stitching Quilter and Jan Hicks, they both have just some really fun projects that they're working on, and go check both of them out. Let's see. Question for the week. My question is, what is your favorite color, and do you stitch with it a lot? My answer, I actually have a couple of different colors that are my favorite, or kind of like a range of colors. When I was a little girl, my favorite color was blue. Mom and Dad had 3 girls in a row, and so for like Christmas gifts or Easter gifts, you know, whatever, they would often give us all the same thing, but in different colors. My older sister's color was pink, my color was blue, and my younger sister's color was yellow. And so if we came out Christmas morning and there were 3, let's say, giant teddy bears, that happened one year. The pink one was Michelle's, the blue one was mine, and the yellow one was Janelle's. And so when I grew up, blue was my favorite color because that was my color, and everything I had was blue. Not everything I had, but you know, everything that I had, that my sisters also had, mine was blue. And then as I got older, I really started to like the color green. Not like bright green, but muted greens, like out in nature, the kind of greens you see in nature. Forest green and stuff like that. And I also, so I really love blues, and I love greens, and I love the combination of the two, things like turquoise and aquamarine. And then just kind of branching out from that, basically any soft muted colors, that, especially the kind that you would find in nature. So that's my favorite type of color. We'll say blue-green, blue/green, but it's a whole range of nature neutrals with blues and greens and browns and grays and some soft purples and yeah, just all sorts of just the soft earthy colors. Do I stitch with that a lot? Since there's so many of them that are included in that, it's kind of hard to say. My Dolphin sketch piece is a lot of soft neutrals, and so yes, I stitch with that type of colors. When I start my band sampler sale, the Saxon band sampler sale that's starting on June 1st, I will be doing that in DMC 520, which is kind of a dark fern green, and that definitely counts as part of my favorite colors. And so yeah, I think I do stitch a lot with the colors that I like a lot. The past couple of weeks I have branched out a bit into super bright colors with the Minecraft ABCs, and then this week the Pokemon ABCs. Those are very bright and vivid, and it's not at all my colors that I really like, but you know, that being said, they are fun colors, and those stitches are more for the whole family, and you know, not specifically for me. But so yeah, I think I do stitch a great deal in my favorite colors, and that's cool. So what's your favorite color? Do you stitch with it a lot? And that being said, oh, I don't know, I don't want to end on a negative note, but I did want to tell my thrift store story. I'll tell it and then find something positive to end on. So I was at the thrift store this week, and I had gone to find some shirts because I've been putting on some weight and I needed some shirts that fit better. But so while I was there, I went to the domestics section. That's where they keep like sewing stuff and crafty things, and I found a partially stitched needlepoint kit. It was flowers and it was beautiful. All the floss was there, the pattern was there, and like there were needles in it, and it was just beautiful. And I'm like, oh, that's going in my cart, that's going home with me, I'm so excited. And then I was looking in the frames, and there was a it wasn't completely done, but it was in the frame section. But it was a Riolis kit, and it was a picture of Jesus, and there was, you know, it wasn't completely done, but there was like a lot of floss left. There was the pattern there, and you know, anyway, that was really awesome too. And I was like, yay, that's going in my kit too. Or not my kit, that's going in my cart too. And okay, I'm gonna pause there because the video is gonna cut out on me, and I'll be right back. So I had the needlepoint kit and the Riolis kit. And also in the domestic section, I found a set of 3 embroidery hoops. 2 of them were metal, and one of them was the, I think they're Duchess style, where it's solid all the way around, and it just fits like really tight, and I was really excited about that. I generally stitch in hand, but I wanted to try it out and see if I liked it, because I know a lot of cross-stitchers really like those old frames, or hoops. And so that went into my cart. And then I just went through like the toddler clothes and got a couple things for Matthew. my 18-month-old, and yeah, and then I went back to the women's shirts and grabbed a few more to try on, and I left my cart outside the dressing room to go get changed, you know, to go try things on, because I always do that, and it's, you know, it's never been a problem. And I see other people leave their carts out too, and you know, it's not a problem. But when I came out, my cart was gone. My needle point, my Riolis kit, my embroidery hoops, my toddler clothes, all gone. And I checked with the workers in that area of the store, because sometimes they have been known to reshelve items if they're left in a cart for too long, just sitting there. And it wasn't too long, but I thought that maybe one of them had taken the cart and just reshelved all the items, and that was not the case. None of them knew anything about it. And so we thought probably another shopper took my cart and took my stuff. Thankfully, I had at least had the good sense to bring my purse into the changing room with me. I'm not that stupid. But yeah, like, one of the associates and I were like wandering the store, glancing in everybody's cart, trying to see if it was my stuff in their cart. And you know, I went back to the areas that I had found those things to see if they had been reshelved, and they didn't show up. So heartbroken and devastated, I had to just buy my shirts and leave my needlework stuff not with me. I got out to my car and cried, not gonna lie. So, ending on a positive note, I did find some fun shirts. This is one of them. Let me see if I can show it a bit more. I'm sitting on the bed. It's kind of awkward. There we go. So, whoop, just I'm obviously not a model, but anyway, so hopefully you kind of saw my pretty shirt. And there were a couple more, and I also got a skirt, because one of the shirts I didn't have any, well, I got it for like wearing to church, but I didn't have any skirt that I could wear it with, so I got a skirt. Hey. Hi. Oh, hey, pretty girl. Ow. She doesn't like being picked. She doesn't want me to pick her up. She's like, I'll sit on your lap if I choose to sit on your lap. You can't make me. That's okay. You saw a lot of her in my update videos, my progress videos. Oh, see, here she comes. Hey. Or not. Anyway. So, on that lovely note, if you're at a thrift store, don't leave your cart unattended. Plain and simple. Because some people are not very nice. And I hope everybody is having a good week and getting in lots of stitching, and I will see you next time. Happy stitching. Bye.